Hi everyone, and welcome back to Spirituality with Gabriella. So today we're doing a pick a card reading on changes that are going to be coming into your future. So if you want a little bit more clarity and guidance on things that are going to be coming into your field and you want to prepare for them, then this is going to be a great reading for you. So as always, if you like my content, please give me a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more, then just subscribe to my channel. What I'll be asking you to do today is to please pick from one of these three piles. And here we have pile 1 with the Quartz, pile 2 with the Turquoise, and pile 3 with the Amethyst. So take a few seconds, focus on your intuition, and find the pile that speaks most to you. Are you ready? All you have to do now is just find the timestamp in the description below, and you can fast forward to get your own personal reading. And I will see you there. Okay, group 1, welcome to your reading. So I've picked 4 main cards for you guys from the Mystic Mondays Tarot deck, and then I've also picked these clarifying cards from the Crystal Tarot deck. So we'll go through these and talk about what changes are coming for you. So first, group 1, I got the High Priestess. And something that's very significant is I actually got this card twice. So I got it once here, and I got it one more time with the Crystal Tarot deck. So that definitely means that intuition, femininity, womanhood, really embracing that energy is going to be a strong theme for you at this point in your life. I know it sounds weird, but that's a different type of energy than how we often go about our lives. So sometimes at work we can be very focused, we can be very driven, and all of that stuff is good, and it definitely is super important. But the High Priestess is also about trusting your intuition and trusting your judgment in a more instinctual sense. I think this might be a bit of a weird transition for you to actually focus more on this. Like, you might have to pull yourself out of always focusing on timelines and focusing on what's ahead and all of that stuff. But I want you to really take note of your creativity and your intuition during this time. And the reason why I say it might feel a little bit difficult for you is that I got the 5 of Pentacles. And the 5 of Pentacles, to be honest, is a little bit of a difficult card. So it does feel like you're kind of out in the cold, or there's been this massive change that has left you feeling at a less than ideal place. But what I see for you guys is that your intuition is actually what's going to help you push through that difficult time. So I know I mentioned that change is coming for you. I think there might be something, if it hasn't happened already, which does make you feel a little bit down. And I think that might be difficult to deal with. But the good news is you have everything you need in order to cope with that change. So you actually have a ton of, as I said, feminine and creative energy coming through in these cards. So here we have the High Priestess, we have the Empress here, which is very much the same. It's about abundance, fertility, creativity, womanhood, once again. And so I feel like you have a lot of strength in relying on those assets that you already have within your soul and within your being. So just remember that when you go through this difficult time, you already have all of the things that you need. So next we have the Emperor. The Emperor, to me, at least in the context of this reading, has 2 different meanings. So one is a more traditional meaning, which is that there's something where it's like you're doing it by the books. And the Emperor is a very revered figure, so someone who others look up to. And I feel that both of these meanings take hold, because on the one hand, it's like you don't actually want that much change to happen. On the other hand, I feel like you are stepping into more of a leadership role where people are really looking to you as an emperor or as an empress, whatever it may be. And that's something that might feel burdensome at the beginning, but I think this is something that you're going to work on and that other people are really going to appreciate about you. So I would say one of the significant changes that's coming for you is I think that people are starting to see you differently, and they're starting to see you as more of a traditional leader, whatever that means to you. I don't know what kind of job you have, what kind of career you have, but I feel like you are going to be tasked with stepping up to the plate. So definitely there's going to be either some kind of project or a series of projects where you are going to have to drive it and where you are going to have to be the one to take ownership and step up to the plate and call the shots. And it's such an interesting dichotomy, but also beautiful partnership that we have with the Emperor and the Empress. I mean, I love tarot. It's so amazing how out of 78 different cards, the cards that I pull are like the Emperor and the Empress right next to each other. And so what this tells me is that you have both of these energies. So you have both the strong business mind, the logic, the traditional sense, but you also have the creative and the intuitive and the feminine. And it's going to be really important as you go through this initial change, but also as you take on this leadership role, that you are balancing both of them. It's really important that you don't get stuck in one, and I think it's easy for you sometimes to get stuck in one, and this is something that you'll have to work on. Here I got the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is really all about working on it. So it's about, after going through this change, which I see as you stepping into a leadership role, it's about making the fruits of your labor ripen. But as you can see in this image, the woman has a watering can. She's watering the fruit that's on her tree. And from that, it's blooming and it's growing. And so I feel like, you are going to be tasked with doing something that's probably out of your comfort zone. It's something where at first it's going to feel very hard for you, and you're probably going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. Whether that's in a traditional business setting or outside of a traditional business setting, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're setting up your own business. But in any case, I feel like this thing feels big to you and feels like a significant change. So I think there's something that you need to do that is going to kind of take you to the next level, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of effort, but I see that with your creativity and with your intuition, which is such a strong theme, and all of that kind of feminine energy coming in, really taking it and making it part of you and designing and weaving it into what you're doing, I feel like that is how you will be very successful. So we also got the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is a cool energy because it does have this image of speed, valiance, courage, and so I feel like when you're tasked with doing this, you are maybe at first a little apprehensive, but I think you step up to the plate and you're just like, okay, it's time, I'm gonna do it. And so I feel really proud of you guys as I'm giving this reading, because I know that you're gonna end up doing a great job. And I know that even though things might seem a little difficult at times, ultimately you're working on it. And through this project or this task that you're doing, I feel like you're also learning about yourself, which is very important. So I would pay special attention to what factors in this project or task are making you feel confident, and then what factors are making you feel a little apprehensive or a little bit nervous. Because from a coaching standpoint, the things that make you feel nervous, those are the things that you're going to want to focus more on over the upcoming months and years. And I actually see that this project is being brought to you as a kind of gift to open your eyes, to expand your mind. I definitely think that you're going to learn about yourself through this project or task that you're doing. So just keep it in mind. You might not even know about the project yet, but it is coming for you and it's going to come into your field fairly quickly. And I think once it comes into your field, you are going to be tasked with really being that leader energy and partnering with other people. So here we have the Two of Pentacles. And this relates directly to the High Priestess. I feel like the Two of Pentacles is about how you leverage your relationships. And I think that you are a natural people person, but I think during this time, you're going to have to be a little bit more strategic about how you deal with those relationships. With the Two of Pentacles, there's this energy of things coming in, things going out, and I don't really see that being so much money, although that is possible. I kind of see it more like the free flow of creativity. And also during this time, I think that you are going to be tasked with pushing people around you. And I say that in a way where you are pushing other people to help them grow and help them advance the next level. So that's really what it means to be a leader. You are the emperor, you are also the empress, you're all of these things in one. Now, the other thing that is kind of like a disclaimer that I also have to say is if you relate more to the Emperor or the Empress and you really strongly relate to one of those energies more than the other, and you don't really see the other energy in yourself, it could actually be someone who you partner with who is going to help you merge those energies together. So let's just say that you're at work and there's this really cool person that you want to work with. This project or task could be a way for you guys to actually come together. Now, I do see this project being more in terms of career, but if you have a side hustle, for example, then I feel like if that takes as much importance as your career, then this could also be your side hustle. So if you also are in a partnership with someone where you're like a content creator, or you are maybe representing a brand or something like that, then I feel like this can also be your side hustle, because I see a lot of outlets with creativity, purpose, all of those themes coming in this reading. So I feel like there is some opportunity that comes up for you guys that is related to your career, although it might not be your day job. I would think for most of you guys it is your day job, but if that's not resonating for you right now, then also consider your side projects, because I think that's definitely on the table that this could be speaking about that as well. And then lastly, I got the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is such a happy card. It is a card where it's like you're over the moon, you get everything that you wanted and more. And so I feel like even though at first, you might be in a little bit of a difficult place or feeling apprehensive or really not sure if you can actually follow through and do everything that's expected of you, I feel like in the end you end up doing such a good job, and it makes people see you even more as a leader. So I feel like group 1, this is a turning point for you guys, because even if you're in a leadership position today, I think that this project or task is going to help you be even more of a leader, step up to the plate, have people think of you in a way or a light that they didn't think of you previously. It's really going to be a turning point in your career. So I would say for you guys, group 1, the big changes are really about this project or task that's coming into your field, but also about your way of thinking. So if you are, as I said, strategic or creative and you're not really both together, I feel like this project or task is your opportunity to not only show your leadership ability, but also to bring those things together. So this is the reading I got for you today, and I hope that it resonated with you. Please let me know in the comments if it did. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much. Group 2, welcome to your reading. So as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about any changes that are coming into your field and how you can deal with those tactically and with clarity. I've picked 4 main cards for you guys, and then these 4 here are the clarifying cards, and I will go through them briefly. What I want you guys to know before I start is I feel like group 2, you guys are in for a mixed bag. So I think that there's a lot of joy and a lot of happiness that is coming in the future months for you, but I think that there's also a few things that are going to be hard and that you're going to have to deal with. And I know you probably find that super vague, so let me elaborate. So the first card I got is the 6 of Wands. The 6 of Wands traditionally is one of the more celebratory cards in the tarot deck. So it really feels like after you've been putting a lot of energy and effort towards something, you finally get what you wanted. And before I go into further details about this, I also want to let you know that I got the 5 of Cups. I'm going to explain both because you kind of need to explain both for the context to make sense. So the 5 of Cups is almost the opposite. It's like feeling like you've tried it really hard, but you have all these cups, they're like full of all of this great stuff, but some of them have spilt and are releasing their contents, and it feels like you've lost or like you are feeling defeated. And it's really funny because these 2 cards are basically opposite from one another in many ways, and yet you have gotten both of them in your spread. And then there are some other things, themes here that kind of show similar vibes, so it's really, really interesting. But what I take from this is, let's just focus on career for a second, and then I also want to focus on love and relationships. So I think with career, I feel like if you have been applying to jobs or looking for a new opportunity, I feel like there is something that doesn't work out as you want it to. Like maybe you really wanted something and you didn't get it in the end despite being like the favorite candidate or despite working really hard. Maybe the factor was outside of your control. But I do see something else that is really good that's going to happen to you. And I would interpret this as either the first place changing their mind and coming back to you and saying, oh, you know what? I know that we denied you, but actually we want to have you on the team, and we were just dealing with a lot of difficult stuff at that time. And I would just kind of wait for that to play out. Even if you get what seems like a hard no, it might not actually be a no. So it might mean that you need to wait a few weeks or months for the opportunity to fully materialize or come back to life. That is one way that I can see this going. Another way I can see this going is if something didn't work out how you wanted it to, and you come to terms with the fact that that thing, for whatever reason, wasn't right for you, then I think there's something that comes around the corner shortly afterwards that is the right thing for you and that you end up being extremely happy about. So I want you guys to know that even though something isn't going to work out, there is something that you're going to be really, really happy about as well. So I feel like that's all goodness. Now I'm going to explain these cards and then get into the love part of the reading. So here I got the Two of Cups. And as a clarifying card, I got the Lovers. And I will show you this one as well. So I'm explaining these in pairs because these all speak to each other. And once again with the tarot, so amazing how the exact order is pulling and speaking to each other in this very beautiful and mystical way. Here we have the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is all about partnerships, new opportunities, joining with other people, finding someone who sees you, your heart, your soul, your intuition, your logic. They really see all of that in you. They see all the goodness. And I do see this being in a more romantic context because you got the Lovers. However, it is also very important to know that the Lovers can show up in business as well. But wherever you are in your life, you obviously know better than me. Whatever is kind of speaking to you, I would trust that. But let's play with the romance idea for a second. If you are single, I feel like the next few months, and especially over the next year, is a really good time for you to find your person. And I'm not saying that this person is necessarily the person you're going to marry, but when you see the Lovers, that is a very strong connection. And it is usually a soul connection. They're two people that are meant to be together. Now, even if they're not together forever, they are together in each other's lives for a significant period of time and to teach each other an important lesson, and usually the experience is very enjoyable. So these are all good cards. And I find it interesting that you got the Six of Wands next to this because it is possible that you are celebrating the fact that the person that you've been waiting for has actually come into your life and that this relationship that you've wanted has materialized. So I do want you to keep that in mind. And like I said, you know better than me. This is not a one-on-one reading. This is a group reading. So if you feel that this is resonating more on a career level, I would definitely take it to be, okay, it's a career thing. You find someone or a group of people who you really feel connected to. Someone sees something in you. Like, for example, maybe there's a leader at a different organization that finds you and thinks, this person is really talented. I want them on board my team. That is 100% on the table as well. So if you're seeing it more for career, that's great. If you're seeing it more for love, that's great. But I feel that if you are single today, then that is definitely likely to change. So keep it in mind. Now, I also got the King of Cups. The King of Cups is an awesome card, and I also want you to notice that you're getting a lot of cups, and we'll get into this a little bit more later, but also a lot of wands. And the cup energy is about emotions and it's about relationships. So I do think that over the next few months, relationships are going to play a more important role than they have previously in your life. And the thing that I really enjoy about the King of Cups being in this spread that we've chosen for you is it's all about emotional balance. And so I feel like, yes, there might be a few hardships or things that you didn't foresee happening that kind of hurt you a little bit. I feel like there's going to be so much joy in terms of your relationships, so much nurturing and so much support, and also inspiration. that these hardships are not even going to matter. I think it's going to be like, maybe you applied for a job, you didn't get it. It doesn't really matter because at the same time you find your new boyfriend or something like that. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a little bit of a push and pull. And I said that you do have a mixed bag, so there's good and there's bad. But I feel overall you stay very emotionally balanced during this time. And I feel that other people start to look to you and think of you as being very wise and very different than how you've held yourself previously. So maybe because you do have a lot of cups, it's possible that you are an emotional person and that in the past you've kind of allowed yourself to get lost in your emotions or even to wallow in your emotions. But I feel like these changes that are happening for you are actually going to bring you into balance so that other people really recognize that and see, this has been both good and bad for this person, but this person is dealing with it really well. I feel like that is a good next step in your spiritual evolution and also just, growing more mature or more adult-like as a person. And even if we are adults, as I'm sure many of us are who are watching this, there's always room for growth and change and development. So I feel that this is a good next step in personal development. Now, I did mention it's a mixed bag. So you also got the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is really just about feeling like some kind of struggle or battle is over and then finding out that it's not actually over yet. But what I can see is if we play with this career idea for a second, let's say that you end up joining this team that kind of denied you and then came back to you later on. I feel that once you join, you're going to see, oh, this is actually a little bit harder than I thought it was. Not everything is exactly as perfect as I thought it was. And so therefore the struggle isn't over kind of thing. But what I see is that you are very emotionally balanced during that time. And this is simply a challenge that's brought into your life and it's testing how you're going to deal with it. And so if you kind of zoom out and see the bigger picture instead of focusing on the minute by minute emotions, I think that you are going to deal with the situation very well and people are going to be very, very respectful of you. So I definitely feel a lot of respect and a lot of popularity even. Like I think people respect you because of how you hold yourself, and I think you'll hold yourself very well given this kind of situation. Now, if you did resonate with this on more of a love level, I would say that maybe you get into a relationship, you kind of go through the honeymoon period and you figure out, oh, there is some conflict here. I don't see it being anything bad. It's just little fights here and there. It's nothing big at all. But once again, you deal with it in a very balanced way, and that makes the other person respect you. Take whatever makes sense for you, leave the rest. Those are kind of the guiding principles of tarot. I also got the Queen of Wands for you guys. The Queen of Wands is, again, very affirmative. You have the Queen and the King here next to each other, the Cup energy and the Wand energy, and you can see here the Wands are here, the Cups are here, so it's cool because the Wands are kind of the bookends of this situation and change that you're dealing with. The Queen of Wands speaks once again to being very well liked. So not only being a creative person and someone who brings new opportunities into their life, but also someone who's very well liked. And I feel that you become well liked because of your emotional balance. And I think that you are finding this emotional balance through looking within. One card I got for you guys is the Hermit. And I do want you to pay particular attention to the Hermit. So sometimes when people get the Hermit, they're like, oh, I don't want to hear it, because it's all about looking within. It's about doing the deep inner work. And I would say that with this reading, it is important that you do listen to that, and especially that you take time for yourself. I feel like things are going to be a little bit crazy. There's going to be a lot of changes that are happening at once, and I think in the long term, they're all good changes for you. But I do think that you need to take time to self-reflect and relax and think about, what am I learning from this situation? And it's very rare that we actually do that on a day-to-day basis. I mean, most of the time we just go through life and we think, oh yeah, everything's fine, and then you're kind of running, and before you know it, you're very tired and you collapse kind of thing. So I don't want that to happen to you, and I don't think it will happen to you, but I feel that a tool you have in your toolbox is this self-reflection, checking in with yourself, really looking within and asking yourself, is this serving me? Is this what I'm meant to be doing? And so whether that is for your career, for your relationship, whether it's now or in the future, I think it's important to go through that process. I feel that that tool is going to feed directly into this emotional balance that you will be exhibiting and that people are going to really rely on you for. I think that you will start to be seen as more of someone who people want to confide in during this time as well, almost because of some of the stuff that happens along the way. I think that this thing that happens, even if it's a little upsetting at the beginning, it's going to allow you to relate to other people more. And I think that that's actually quite good. People are going to kind of draw to you like moths draw to light. I see that this is actually a positive thing. So once again, what I want to kind of end with is that wands are a very fast-moving energy. So wands are ruled by the element of fire. And if you think in nature of fire, it's very powerful. It's also sometimes destructive, but in a way where it signifies a lot of rebirth. So if you think of a forest fire, it goes throughout the whole forest. It clears it out. To us on the outside, it's terrible, it's scary, it's very destructive. But on the inside, it is a rebirth, it's a rejuvenation. And so I expect that during this time, there is going to be a lot of change, but don't see it as destructive. Instead, I want you to see it as creative and as exciting and as fast. You know, it's going to be fast moving. And then the cups are also, they're not as fast moving because it's water, and water is slower and it's more emotional and it goes deeper. But these two things together, it shows me that you have that balance of the water and the fire together. And so if you have both of those things, then there's really nothing that can stop you. I really feel like over the next few months for you guys, during this change, the lesson is actually about balance, emotional balance, being logical, also being creative, being intuitive, bringing all of those things together. And I think that there's gonna be a lot of happiness as well. So really just enjoy the happy moments, savor the happiness, because there is gonna be a reason for celebration. There are going to be new people coming into your life, whether that's romance or career. And I think overall, this is a really exciting reading. So I wish you guys the best. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much. Okay, group 3, welcome to your reading. So we're going to talk a little bit about the changes that are coming for you in your life and get a little bit more clarity so that you can approach them with guidance and with focus. So I've picked 4 main cards for you guys. And then here I have some clarifying cards as well, and I will go through these quickly. So group 3, there's a lot of mixed energy in your reading. So I see a lot of success financially. I also see a lot of hardship, and I want you guys to know that up front so that when I explain this, you are focused on every single word I'm saying, because I think that it's really important to listen to everything so that you know when you're dealing with these changes, how to deal with them. The first card I got for you guys is Temperance. Temperance is all about balance, and it's all about having control. Group 3, I feel like you guys have a tendency to overwork yourself, focus too much on one thing at the expense of others. And I think that your health can actually sometimes take a hit by doing this. So I think balance is key here. And as you can see, there's this kind of seesaw in this card where it's like, how do I balance all of these different things that I want to do? And I know at times it can feel impossible. But what I want to show you throughout this reading is that actually it's not impossible. It's very important to have time to balance yourself and your life and to balance your energy. And there's a lot of tools that you can use to do that through meditation, yoga, Reiki, Qigong, all of those good things. You know, there's a lot of stuff out there that will help you balance yourself. You might be sitting there wondering, well, why do I need this? Well, stay tuned. So what I see for you guys is I see that you have some kind of new idea or business venture that you are going on. I don't know if this is your own company, but it very well could be something like that. And we have gotten the Princess of Pentacles, which is called the Page of Pentacles in the classic tarot deck. And this really signifies a new path that you're going on, which is amazing. And I see a lot of promise with this path. I think that it will make you very successful in the long term in terms of your finances, but also in terms of your creativity. I think there's a lot of creative stuff that is happening through this new project or venture that you're going on. Now, we also have the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles is all about success. So I don't know where you are with this project, but I feel like it is a little bit newer. I don't think it's fully fleshed out yet, and I think that you will achieve success with it. So I think that there's a lot of money in store for you in terms of this project. You will be very financially successful, so that's great. And one thing that I would say is that, and this will come out a little bit more later, I feel like it's important to have a plan and have a strategy and not just kind of innovate into a dark room type of thing. I think when you are thinking about change, I would first expect that there's kind of a wave of money that comes to you, and I see you being like quite excited about that because I think it's abnormal and it's probably something you're not used to dealing with. But I also want you to know that it's not always that easy. You know, it's going to be a lot harder as you go through this journey. So just remember that. Take advantage of the celebratory stuff that is coming up for you in your future. And I think that that will primarily be in terms of money. Either you are making your own money, your new business is making money, or you are getting some kind of bonus or opportunity through money that you didn't have previously. I also got the Magician for you. And the Magician is all about innovation, entrepreneurship, creativity, almost secrecy as well. So like a real magician, people aren't quite so sure, how does he or she do that? How is it that the rabbit comes out of the hat? I think that you are probably working on something really cool where people couldn't replicate it in the way that you're doing it, and that's actually what makes that thing special. I don't know if you're also into like technology, artificial intelligence, all of that stuff, but I do think that you will be very successful in that type of area. And even if you're not in technology, I feel like there is some kind of cool thing that you do that other people don't do. So definitely keep doing that because that is your unique value proposition, and that is what's going to help you make traction and also gain popularity over time. So what I see is like people would come to you because you have this product or service that other people are not able to do in the same way. So let's get into the clarifying cards a little bit, and I'll show you why balance is going to be a really important theme over the next few months for you guys. So first I got the Eight of Pentacles. I did mention that you are coming into money, so I definitely see you at first celebrating, and I feel like you are going to want to buy some stuff that you haven't been able to buy previously, whether that's clothes, a car, a home. It could be any of those things. I do feel like it is a decent amount of money. I wouldn't say that you become a millionaire overnight, but I do think that money is in your future, and I think it's going to happen more quickly than you might even expect. So especially given that this is more of like a new project or venture that you're going on, I feel like the money might even kind of surprise you. Be happy with it, and definitely celebrate because it's worth celebrating, and you've been working hard for it. Now, I also got a few cards. There's 3 cards in a row here that are a little bit more difficult. So let's talk about this. So this one is the Devil, and the Devil is typically about anxiety and fear and also gluttony. So I feel like, you are going to have all of this money coming in, but I really want you to not just focus on money, because what I can see happening is that you are so excited about what's coming in and you focus a little bit less on the product or service, which is where your true heart is. And I don't want you to get into this place where you're more focused on the ends instead of the means, so to speak. So make sure that you still focus on the meat. And one thing that I do think is important for you here is, I did say that you're quite focused on one thing. I feel like balance is necessary in order for you to really succeed at this business or this project that you're working on long term. So you can't just work all day, every day, and have it all be perfect. You're going to need to bring in some balance and some relaxing time, and also time to learn new and different things. Even like working out, going for a walk, all of that stuff, make sure that you throw it in there, because if you don't, I think that you are going to run yourself to the bone, and that is not what we want for you. So I also got the Ten of Swords. So in terms of changes, one thing which I think is going to kind of make you feel a little bit imbalanced is I think you're going to have this sway of money that's going to come in, but it will almost feel like just as quickly as it's come in, there's something that happens that kind of shuts it down. And I don't think that's permanent, by the way. I really don't think so. But I think at the time it will feel like it's permanent. And so I don't know if that's like a client pulling out after working with them for a few months, or if it's like you figure out that you actually have to pay a lot of money towards some kind of loan or some kind of taxes or something like that. I'm just using that as an example. But there's going to be something that comes up that makes you feel like, oh, I worked so hard for this, and suddenly like all of this sucks, you know? The reason that I'm sure it's going to be difficult is I also got the Tower. The Tower is about a sudden change, so I feel like this is something you're not going to expect. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but rather I'm saying this so that you can be prepared, because I think that when this time comes, you are going to want to have a cushion of money. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of money up front, and yes, it's definitely worth celebrating, and yes, you can definitely do that again in your future, but do not spend all of it at once. You are going to need it. There's going to be something that happens where it is unexpected, and you are going to need that money. So I think it's really important to just make sure that you have this cushion. But I feel you are working yourself really hard, and that's why balance is a theme in this reading. If you don't start making the habits of balance right now, then, you know, this situation is going to be harder than it has to be. And I think this situation is brought into your life to teach you that you need that balance. So group 3, very, very important. If you're not currently taking care of yourself, if you're working yourself to the bone, if your CEO or your boss or whoever is making you stay really long hours, or you have your own business and you're putting every thread of your being into it, that's great. I respect it. But I also want you to bring priorities into your mind and think really carefully about, is my health and is my sanity worth it? I would say, given these cards, there's going to be so much success that you're going to kind of fall into, and it's happening all of a sudden, but there's also going to be a struggle. It's kind of the world's way of giving you a reality check. Like, nothing is as good as it seems on first glance. It always takes work. And so a classic example is like, yeah, you might have sold tons of different products or different, assets that you had available, but because of that, you're having to work like much longer hours to get your next stock and to do all the marketing. So you know what I mean? There's always like a push and pull with life. That's kind of how it works. And so what I see for you after this period, which is going to happen, both of these good things and these harder things are going to happen. I see the Four of Swords, and the Four of Swords is all about healing. And so that's why I feel like the bookends of this reading for you guys is actually about balance and it's about healing. And so I think that this change that's coming into your life, it's going to kind of sweep you off your feet. At first, you'll be very excited and delighted about it. In the second stage, you're going to be quite overwhelmed and conflicted about it. But I feel ultimately the change is to teach you the lesson of balance and to make sure that if you're balanced, then you know that nothing can really knock you down. So just remember, during this time, don't be too much of a workaholic. It's great to focus your energy and your effort towards something new, and I do see it being successful. And I also want to tell you that despite this situation that is going to happen, this does not affect you long term. This is something that is brought into your life to teach you the habits that you need to integrate on a longer term basis. So I don't want you to be under any kind of presumption or feeling that you're going to fail because of this thing. That's absolutely not the case. But I think that this thing is brought into your life to teach you a lesson, and the lesson is about balance and is about taking care of yourself. I do see a lot of healing coming for you after all of this activity, and I think at that time it will be welcome, because I think you are going to be quite tired given all of the change that's going to happen for you guys. But just remember, a lot of money, also some hardship coming up, and the theme is going to be balanced and is going to be healing. So as long as you focus on balance and healing, try and integrate that now so that you're not kind of losing out later on in the game, then I think you'll end up doing very well for yourself, and I think that everything will be okay. So if you have any questions, then leave me some comments, or if you want a personal reading, just let me know, and I wish you guys a lot of luck. Make sure that you don't spend all your money at once, remember that, but do enjoy it and do celebrate it because you guys do deserve it. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.